So it will go to the registration page. Here user can register itself, and then again it will move back to the redirected to the login page. And once user logs in, then they can see the home page. Inside the home page, they will have three buttons, something like view. So by default we will see the will show the view. Suppose we need we are developing some employee database management. So view all the employees, then edit employees, and then edit and add employees. Okay, so add, update or delete, and view. Okay, so these three things will be there, and there will be one logout button, and they can log out, and once they log out again it will come back here. So there are many things we will be covering. Point by point I will tell you. JDBC connectivity, whether I will, let me write in notepad, it's so difficult to type here. Okay, so mainly what we will be covering is uh, number one is JDBC connection to the database. Number two, show the data from the table. Then we can add or delete or edit the record in DB from UI side. Then we will do the session management, and then we will do how to these all will be combined. It's not like step by step it will be happening. Organize your project. This is where to write, what to do, and all these things, right? I mean, how to write code, how to separate your code, and all these things, right? So we'll be covering all these sessions, and I will be using HTML also together, but I'm not going to explain you much how to write HTML code and all. I think if you're interested, you can go through the link website I had shared, tutorials point. There you can see the basic W3 schools. There are many these things are there. And anyhow, it's a UI teams work. Generally they deal with all these. So I'll just do the minimal UI, whatever is needed, and then we can write some small kind of program. Okay, so I have downloaded a sample template what I will be using it. So I will be using that sample template to so just little bit nice clean UI. We can I'll show you all these things, but together parallelly I'll keep on explaining what actually the JSP, how it works, and all these things, right? So before I'll start this project, I will tell you about all these things, how JSP works, how internally server parses that, and all these details. Okay, so any questions so far, anything you want to cover apart from this? Once. Okay, so fine. No question, right? Any question?
Yes,
Yeah, tell me.
we are making web page using HTML.
Yeah, HTML for UI purpose. I mean, viewing purpose. I mean, whatever you see that, right? For that.
All right.
Okay. Is it fine? Everyone is okay with that? Okay, great. I think there is no problem. Fine. So what I will do is I have one sample HTML what I had created for one of my friend's project. I'll just simply what I will do is I'll create one project, and dynamic web project. To get the themes and right, there is a very good get bootstrap Bootstrap. Okay, so there is a website if you are interested in designing and all this stuff, right? You can see this get Bootstrap, and this is a open source UI things where you can get Bootstrap components themes. One second. You can download these css and html on all these things, and you can design by yourself. It's a pretty much different thing, I would say. Ui and server side coding is it's a different thing. So I'm not just emphasizing. If you guys you have interest in all these things, right? I had created from there only. You can get any kind of these things, right? If you need some marketing kind of, you can download this template and you can edit according to your website. These are free. So this Bootstrap, right? There is a very I would say popular open source css and html code what they provide, right? And you can edit it. So similarly I did for one of my friends, so I will be using that. I'll edit everything, I'll make it very minimal information, and very small kind of project what we will be doing. Okay, so I'll call it as a employee. Okay, screen stuck. Okay, so emp manager, something like that. I'm giving employee manager. Okay, so yeah, so employee manager is there, and in web content what I will do is, okay, one second, I did one mistake. I have to include, second, let me delete this again. I'll add it. Create new dynamic web project, emp manager, employee manager. Oh my god, why I'm doing this again and again. Okay, anyways, I'll just copy it from here. Okay, what I will do is I'll copy paste that project, the HTML UI what I had created. I am not going to do all these things again. I had downloaded from that Bootstrap only. I think again screen might have stuck, so let me refresh it again. Okay, fine. Yes, so what I will do is I'll just paste it. I'll tell you what are the things. They are the CSS, it's called cascading style set. These files are responsible for giving the margin, how much margins would be, what is the color, what is, other things, these things, whatever. You don't have to worry about all these CSS, what fonts they are using, what images I am using, see banners and all that. So I was creating the project for a hotel in Germany. Yeah, later they just kept in hold, so I thought, I mean, this I'll use that. So I'll just show you. This is the JavaScript. What these are the provided by the Bootstrap only. I haven't written anything. So index.html, what I will do is I'll remove this index.jsp, and I'll keep remove that JSP. This also I'll remove this license part also, as I'm not going to make it for official purpose. So I have one index.html, that's all, another library. So let me just first run it and let me see how oh my god, where I had copied. Should have copied in this. Okay, and then the index.html in web content. So this should be the hierarchy. Whatever the css, it should go css folder, fonts, images, what are the images you want to give, and then the web inf and all these things, right? So yeah, that is fine. Okay, so index.html, let me just run it, how actually it looks like. We'll get some kind of feel of this. I'll remove this, I'll add this employee manager only. Okay, so it is running. Let me see, localhost 8080 emp manager. Okay, so as you can see here, this was the, I had designed this basic template where you can see this about search hotel bookings, contact us, and all these things, right? So this was some Germany hotels, this one. So what I'll remove all this stuff. I'll just make it a very simple login page here. Okay, so the very first page will be the login page, and then they log in, then we'll create the registration page, and then we will go on. And parallel to that, I'll keep on explaining you that, okay, this is what it does, how the flow is, because this is how you will understand. If I keep on teaching, it will become very boring, and half of the things you will not understand what I am talking about. So if I keep telling you parallelly, right, this is what I am doing, this is what it is responsible for, I think that would be the a good idea to do that. If anybody of you feel like, okay, this is not good idea, or if you want some other things, or if you want at the end of the session to explain something, feel free to ask. I'll do that. I'll explain you. Okay. So what I will do is I'll create one more page as a copy. I'll do that, and I'll paste it here, and I'll name it as a home.jsp. So all my file will be JSP file only. Let me add the targeted source. Okay, so home.jsp, I'll make this one as index.jsp, and one more page will create as a registration page, register.jsp. Okay, so we have three page. So index page will be our the main front page, which will be loaded first, and there I should see the login page. Okay, that, okay, you log into the system, right? So what are the things we need? We need username and the password, right? So how we are going to design it? So what I will be doing is, we for every element, so in source, right, what I will do is I'll create one package, com.employee employee management model. So inside that, we'll create one class as a user, and for user we will have two details. Oh, sorry, we have one detail, two details. Yeah, int user, sorry, string user name. Okay, make it private. I'll keep on explaining you. Let me write first, private string password. Okay, then what information we should have? uh, Email ID, and then the private string, just let it be country, only these informations. Okay, so username, password, email ID, and country will ask only for these four details. Okay, so these are the fields which will be using to register, but for logging in we will be having only get resettle, get it. Okay, so these four fields we will be asking while registering the user, but for logging in we will needing only the username and the password. Okay, so we must have one database as like this: username, password, email ID, and country. And in index page, what we should be having is, we'll remove this, we'll say something like employee manager. Okay, employee manager app, something like application. Okay, so this will be our project title, employee manager application. And here we will remove all these things like about, and all these things will remove. So as you can see here, diff, remove all this stuff. I don't need all this. I don't need header, footer, and all these things I'll not be needing. So big. Let me remove this also. So let me see how it it has been changed so that I can just edit it. Just don't worry about right now. Just I'm editing the page so that how it should be looked like. Okay. So yeah, you can see that everything has been removed. So I need to just put here as a one small thing as a username and the password, right? So I'll do that. I need to remove all these, and from index page. Okay, so what I will do is here. I know it would be something. So we'll put something like input. So write text box. For text box, we write type as a text, input type as a text, then name as username. Okay, and here we'll write username. Just let me see whether it has been properly indented or not. Okay, so let me open here. Yeah, so as you can see here, the log username has come something like this. That's what we wanted. And then after that, we need one more. So we'll copy this, we'll paste it here. We'll say password. So just focus on all these things only. Don't worry about other things. What I'm writing, form name equals to login form will write, then method. I'll tell you about all these are the important things whether you should look for. Method is post, then action is equal to login login submit, and then okay, and then we need to have one input type equal to right button. Okay, so just let me refresh that. So yeah, so we have username and the password and the login button, right? Just make it to the next line. So we'll have next line here. Okay, so now if I refresh it, okay, so it should look nice now. So if I click on this, nothing is happening. It should go to, submit. Okay, so it's going to login server. Fine. So this will be our the login page, the very first page. And what we need is we will put a hyperlink. So this is how we write a hyperlink here. We'll say register dot JSP, and it will put make it to the register, and we write something like not registered, click here for. So we write something like not registered. So let me make it here, and then it will ask something like click here to go to the registered page. So if I refresh it now, you will see here it will showing something like this, not registered, click here. So if you click it, it is going to the registration page, as you can see here, right? So going to the register.jsp. So that is perfectly fine. So let me make it something, yeah. So okay, fine. So I think everything other than that is all right. Okay, Control F. Oh my god, I closed it. Okay, so fine. Localhost 8080, then EMP manager to the name I've given. Yeah, so now I think pretty nice, right? So this is generally what happens, right? I'll remove this logo because it doesn't look good. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, now it's perfectly fine. So this will be our the main index page. Okay, and we can write something like what is this page about. So we can have in h3 here employee management system version 1.0. So it would it would some 1 second. Okay, so yeah, employee management system version 1.0. This is, and you can put username and password. I'll explain you what I have done here till now. So this would be our basic index.jsp page, where whenever you launch your application, right, what actually happens is your servlet is running on a server, right? And right now the server is this, what Tomcat, what I explained you last time, right? So the Tomcat is running here in my own local host, as you can see here, local host, right? If it would have been running on some other machine, right, I need to copy these code to on that particular server, that is we are deploying that. As you can see here, if I click on this, it will say simply employee manager, it is synchronized. So this actually, this particular application is running on this Tomcat server. So when I run this, when I bring up my Tomcat, it actually reads this web.xml and it search for all these files, either index.html, index.jsp, as I told you last time, right? And if it finds that this index.jsp, what actually it does is it parses this entire into, it compiles into two files. Okay, so this is actually how the JSP Tomcat renders the JSP file. So Tomcat actually what it does is it renders the JSP file into two files. It separates out, not kind of two files, but two contents. One is in Java and one is purely HTML. It separates out because right now I am not using any Java code here, but very soon I will be writing the Java code as well. So JSP actually it consists of two type of data. One is purely Java code what you're writing, and second is HTML. So what it does is it creates a class file, just like class employee, you write it, right? In similar ways it creates something like class underscore index dot java file. Okay, it creates with from that JSP file. Okay, and it compiles it using the Java compiler internally, and it runs this file. Okay, and it has four type of methods. It has post, it has get, it has delete. I'll tell you what are these things, and it has put. So these three fours are defined under the service method. I'll tell you. So this index.java file has four stages. Number one is init, it gets loaded. Number two is service, sorry, three stages, and number three is destroy. So what actually happens is when you send a request on the server like localhost colon 8080, this is nothing but sending a request. So you are sending a request, and right now if you don't send, by default it goes as a index.jsp. So when I did this index.jsp, internally Tomcat has, what it does is it compiled the index.jsp, it parsed that into two files. One is underscore Java and one is underscore HTML. HTML is nothing to do with, it's just, I told you, markup language. It's just as it is. It's all a static thing. It's not a dynamic thing, right? So color and all these details, whatever images, folders and all these things what we give, it will remain as it is. There's nothing logical things happening there. So main thing what is happening here is index.java file, whatever, and when it gets loaded, by default index.jsp implements, or you can say inherits, I write in common words, inherits http servlet class. Now http servlet class is nothing but, as I told you, all the communication from your browser to your Tomcat, the server, happens between a http request response, right? So http servlet is a class which has two things, which has a http servlet request and http servlet response. These two type of class it has. And this request, right, it's something like, as I told you, when you send the request, all the data comes as a request object, request you can say. So the data will be here, what kind of request it is trying to do, and based on this request, right, it will call these methods. So request can be of four types. It could be either post, it could be a get, it could be delete, or it could be put. Mostly we use only these two. Do not worry about these things. These are advanced and not even used much. Post and get, there are two types of method, request type method is. So post is something like you won't able to see the data in the URL. So if I'm sending this request, right, as we are not sending any request, so I'm not able to see it here. Very soon I'll tell you what is the get and request. See here, I am this username and the password, right? If I click on this login, you will see it is going to login servlet, because I am telling here that, okay, when a user clicks on the submit button, this input type submit, name is submit and value is login. So this login button, when I click on it, it tells that it will go to the login servlet. Okay, and the method type I am telling post. Let me make it get. Okay, I'll tell you what actually it does is, once you click on this method, sorry, this button, login button, actually it calls this servlet, that Java servlet class. I'll tell you about servlet later. It calls that with these two data, username and the password, whatever we are putting here. And it is a method get type. So get is something like it should be visible to your URL. So I'll show you. So I'll give my username as suppose Divakar and password as 12345. Okay, so this is visible right now. It should not be visible. Let me make it not visible. So it should be as a password. Okay, so I'll write Divakar and password as 12345. Now as you can see, so if I click on login, you will see here one thing has been added. Login servlet question mark username equal to Divakar and username equals to one. Oh my god, copy pasting is always a bad idea. I'll type the field name as a password. So let me just refresh it again and I'll put it Divakar and password as 12345. Submit. Now as you can see here, once I click on submit, the data what it is getting carried over to the login servlet is this one, username equal to Divakar and the password equals to 12345 and submit equals to login, that is the login, the submit button name. Now there is a problem with this, right? If I make it a so if you write it a get, the method type as a get, what you will see that the request is going as a URL. It is going appending into the URL and it is going to the another servlet. Now what is the problem with this? Can anybody tell me what is the problem with this? What we are doing wrong here if we do something like this? Anybody can me tell me what is the problem happening here? Nothing coming in mind? Suppose you have opened Gmail and your friend is beside you, okay, and you open your Gmail, you put username and password, you hit enter, and what if your username and password shows in your URL? Would you be happy to see that? No privacy. Perfect, right? So there is no privacy with that, right? You are seeing the password here exactly, right? So sending the data, sensitive data in URL is not a good idea, right? So where exactly we should use such kind of things? So first thing, how to avoid this, right? So this 12345, if I don't want to send using the URL, if I want to send into the body, as I told you, HTTP request has two things, header and the body. So this is we are sending kind of header, you can say, URL. If you want to send in body so that it does not appear in the URL, we can send it as a post. So if I write it post, now you will see nothing will come here. It doesn't mean that data is not there, but you will see here very soon. So Divakar and then 12345 and I'll click on login. You will see only login servlet, there is nothing here, but data is going to this login servlet. Will show you quickly. So now let me write one thing. We'll do one thing here is create a login servlet. Okay, so I have created a login servlet here. Now what type of data request I am sending? I am sending the type of, first let me send the type of request as a get, so that I'll show you the difference. So I'm sending the data as a type get. So if you see here, we have two methods, do get, do post. What kind of data I am sending here? What type of with method? Get, right? So my get method will be called here, do get and do post. And as you can see here, HTTP servlet and request is HTTP servlet request. So this request will be having my data, what I am sending using this servlet. So let me refresh it again. Let me write it Divakar and password as 12345. If I click on login, this username and password, these data are incorporated. It is embedded in HTTP servlet request. Okay, and in this request, my data will be there. So I need to get those data. Okay, so there is a way to get the data using the field name. So what is the field name I'm defining here? I'm defining the field name as username. This is my field name, and the password, and this you can see here also, username and the password, right? So to get the data in the servlet, in the data, what you can do here, string username equal to request. So this is my http request, this object. So I'm telling this object dot get parameter, and I'll put the name what I have given here. So I've given the name as a username, right? So I'll come here and I'll put it here. Okay, so I'm getting the username. Now I need to get the password as well. So password equals to request dot get parameter and then the password, right? Now I'll do one thing. I'll simply try to print this here, and just to show that we are retrieving that. So username and password, as a password I'll simply write from servlet. Okay, so that means the request has been received and it's calling the do get method. It should print it here, and my request type is get only. So let me try this again. I need to restart it because I've added new servlet. So restart of server is required. So server restarted. So let me refresh my page here and I'll hit enter. I'll just clean it. So the Divakar I'm writing, and I'm password writing PASS. PASS pass. Okay, login. Nothing is happening here because I'm not doing here, but in console if you see here, from servlet username is Divakar and password is pass is coming, right? And as I'm seeing here, right, username Divakar and password is here, right? Which is completely wrong. So what I will do is I'll change the way we are sending the data. I don't want people to say it, so I'll make it as a post. Okay, perfectly all right. Let me do that again. This is perfectly fine. And now we'll just refresh this one. Okay, we'll say again Divakar. We'll say, let me write password as a pass123, and I'll hit enter. Login. You can see there is nothing here, but that doesn't mean the password has gone. I had given the password as pass123. Let me see here the console, and you can see in the console. Okay, yeah, so this is the problem there. It didn't print it. The reason behind is in login servlet I'm expecting my value to come in do get, right? So the do get will be called only if my request type is get, but my request type is post, so it will call the do post method. Okay, so I'll do one thing. I'll just remove from here. I'll put it this one. Okay, so from servlet. Okay, and I'll write just for inside do post method, just to make you guys understand that okay, this is getting called. Okay, perfect. Now so we'll run this again, perfectly fine. Okay, so we'll write Divakar and pass as root pass. Okay, so login. Now we'll see here, yeah, username Divakar and password is root pass inside do post method, right? Did you understand how the context is working here? How do post is getting called? So your servlet is getting called based on the method, right? The method inside the servlet is getting called based on your do get and do post. You can write other methods as well, like do get do put, do delete. Those methods are also there, you can write, but we do not use much, and I'm not going to cover that. So what actually this servlet is? What is the difference between a servlet and the JSP? So a servlet is something like where you cannot write the HTML code. Okay, you have to write only the Java codes, whatever the Java codes, right, is there. So you should use the servlet only in the case where you need to do the logical operations, no UI operations. Okay, other than that, JSP and servlet works both as the same. Just like, internally even JSP also gets compiled as a servlet only. So ultimately, even your index.jsp becomes as a servlet only. It has also do get, do post, do all these methods it will have. So there is no difference internally, but externally if you see JSP, you can write the HTML code as well as Java code incorporated, but in servlet you can write only the Java code, and it supports this do get, do post, do delete, do port. There are 4 methods it supports. It takes the request HTTP request, it sends the response HTTP response, whatever data you want to send, and that's how it works. And HTTP requests, these data are sent via your browser. So whatever the browser your data, what you send, right, and that is the reason you write http://www.google.com. So that browser is sending a HTTP request to the web server, and HTTP request contains those data what you are sending from your browser. So this is how the internally all these things works. Any question so far? Any confusion? Any doubt? Slowly we will keep on building the project. I mean, slowly it will become the entire employee management project, and you will see that it's interesting how the session gets management and all these things, right? Okay, good. What I will do today is I'll cover the registration portion so that we can, able to enter this username and password and all these things. So I'll quickly go and create the database today. So let me just I'll do this. Okay, so root, log into the system, and so databases. Let me create my own. Okay, create employee DB. Okay, so I'll write create database employee DB. So my employee DB is a database where my employee details, user details, all will be using. So use employee DB, show tables, so there will not be any table, and inside that I'll do one thing. I'll create table, and I'll use with username, password, email, and country. So we'll do that. We'll create table user, and then we will have username as varchar. It can't be greater than 100, so I'll limit on this username. Then the password, oh my god, it will not work. Okay, because create table var char varchar 100, and then username varchar, then password varchar. Password also should not be more than 50 characters. I'll create on that. Then the email varchar, and email should not be more than 100. Then the again country, so all these things are a string only. Country varchar, let it be 20. Okay, fine. So what I have done wrong, create table name, username varchar, password varchar. Please do let me know if there is any problem. You can see here, I don't know what is going wrong. Then the varchar country var right? You have an error in the check the manual that correspond to MySQL. Use the username varchar.
I think you have to write that all thing in one sentence.
No, it's not like that. Aha, that bracket, I'm missing that bracket. After create table, you need to put this bracket, and then username, then password, then email ID, then the country, and then again the parenthesis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now is there. So DSC user, so described. Okay, so username, password, email ID, and country. So it's exactly same. I have created one class also here, username, password, email, and country. So whatever the details will fill it, it will go here. Okay, and it will go and insert here. One more table we will create, maybe tomorrow we'll create when we will be managing the employee. So for today we will be doing the registration part. So describe user, so user table, we have all these fields, we need to fill it up perfectly. All right, we'll go quickly and delete this page because we have edited there. So register.jsp, register.jsp. So in register.jsp, what I will do is, once user navigates to here, we'll write something like register yourself. Okay, so in registration, right, what I will be doing is, username will ask, okay, username, then the password will ask to them, and apart from that there are two more fields we will ask, right? So we'll create username is there, then password is there. Next, what it will be? It should be email, right? And the fourth thing should be country. Okay, right. So input type here we will make it as a email, and here we'll make it as a country. One more thing I wanted to put it there. Okay, so that you guys can learn about that. We'll put it as sex as a male or female. Okay, so for that we'll write select name equal to sex and option, sorry, okay, option value equal to male, and put as a female. Okay, so this will carry the whether sex male or female, right? Fine. So we need to modify a little bit, like alter table user, and then add column sex as varchar 10. Oh, I have forgot the syntax. I don't know. Alter table. I don't know whether it's alter table, add column. Okay. So what is the command? Alter table, add, yeah, alter table name, column. Oh, I am putting that parenthesis here. Sorry. Everything was right. Only what I'm doing wrong. Alter table user, right? Then alter table user, and then add. Okay, column will not be there. Okay, sorry. Only the column name. Okay. What is the problem? Add column name, data type, right? Alter table user. add. Oh, here. What is it? Okay. So now if I do describe user, you will see that okay, last, right? So sex or gender has come, right? So uh, 5 fields we have, right? We need to add one more in the user class here I had created, right? So we'll create private string gender. Okay, so we'll create the getter setter for this as well. Okay, great. Yeah, perfect. So just let me run and let me see how it is there. Index is over here. Register, and it should go to register user servlet. Okay, so let me run this now. Okay, so I'll see, I like no, not registered, click here, and if I come here, as I can see here, right, it's perfectly coming. Register yourself and username, password, email, country, and I have to click on. It's not looking nice, but yeah. Okay, placeholder and all these things we can put it. You can always, go to this bootstrap, right? And there are many things here. I mean, if you see here, like if you want to make it select, this is how you can design. So select, can put it as a select. If you want a nice looking select and all these things, right? You can do it here. I think, I don't know, text button, then the nav, fixed static top, labels, badges, input box, checkbox, basic example. There are many things is there. You can drop downs, and you have header, select input box. You can put as a form control, input type. So as you can see here, right? You can put something like div, class, button group, and you can write something like that. It will look a bit nicer than what we generally see. It will come something like this. It will come. So you can write your your type of, see, the buttons, all these things you can do. I was looking for something. Drop down, but I think it will take too much time. So you can select something like this. I mean, drop down. What do you want to do, and then what you want to click, and you want to get other things are there. Let me not waste time. I'm actually pretty much addicted to this to make it perfect. Anyways, we can just little bit make a few changes here. Registration is coming here only, so okay, so I think it will be in Italy. Oh, Localhost why it is coming. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, so we'll write something like gender. Okay, so now it is coming, right? So gender and all these things. So here you can put something like indicate placeholder equal to. You can write something like username. So it will come something like this. It will come here. What is this field name, username, and all these things, right? So it becomes quite indicative. Then even if you don't put this one, right, the box will indicate your this one, right? Okay, fine. I am not worried about these things. So username, password, email ID, country, and the gender. There are 5 elements what you are giving. 3 to 5, right? And the 5 elements what you need to do is the name is username, password, email, country, then I'll put it as a name as a gender. Okay, so name equal to gender. Okay, so the gender, and then the, yeah, that's all, right? So username, password, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 fields are there, and I'm calling to the register user servlet. So we'll create one servlet here quickly. Servlet. Okay. Okay, so what I think you guys will, by this time you will understand what I'm going to do here. I'm sending as a whether the post, right? Yeah, so I'm sending as a post. So I'll come here, user servlet, and in the post I need to get these details. Okay, so request dot get parameter names, it is okay, get parameter values. Yeah, so what actually happens, right? You can get the as an array also. If you see here, right, you can get the array, and what I will do is I'll provide the form name here. So instead of writing the all the elements, right, it's always better that if you write register form. So register form, we'll write it here. So if I give this name, what it will do, whatever the elements which is belonging to this particular this one, right? 1 second. Once here, get parameters name. Okay, parameters value string. Okay, so get parameter names enumerator. Okay, so let me check here. What is the problem happening? Input list equal to, or I'll say registration info, and then while registration info dot has more elements, we'll just print it out first. We'll see that whether it has or not. So registration info dot next element. Okay, so we'll just print it out. We'll see how it works, whether it is printing all these data or not. Let me see that. So instead of putting all these names one by one, right, I thought of getting at once. So click here, get the worker, whatever password, whatever email ID, whatever country, whatever needed email, whatever. Okay, so it has reached here. Yeah, so see, password, email, country, and submit. Nothing is coming here badly. Okay, so these are the field names. Okay, so I think it has printed the field names. We need all these data here. So get request parameter. Okay, so we know that, right? It's in order, so we can put it as in that. So what I will do is password, email, country. No, it's coming in different order, right? So even username is not coming, as I can see here. Okay, I think it's a bad idea to use that. I think we can simply better it is if we query. Okay, so we'll have this username, we'll have this password, email, country, and gender. So we'll quickly write it. String username request dot get parameter, and then username, and then string password equal to request dot get parameter, then the password, then string email equals to request dot get parameter, then email, and then string gender equals to request get parameter gender, and then the string country equals to request dot get parameter equals to country. Okay, so we have written all these information. We create user object by using that. So user equals to new user, and we'll set all these user dot set country as a country, then user dot set email as a email, user dot set gender as a gender, then user set name as a username, and then user set password as a password, and then we'll just print out. Okay, so I think it should print it, but before that we need to override the toString. I'll tell you about this method, what actually it is. Instead of printing the object, it prints the toString. It prints the value with that value. Okay. Anyway, so let me just try it now. Let's print all the value. Okay, so click here, put something name ddd or username. Password as 12345. Email is email. Country is C1. Then gender is male. Let it be. Register. Let me see. Okay, so username is coming null. Password is this. Email is this. Everything is coming fine except username. There is some problem with here. I don't know what is that. Okay, so the name is, the problem has happened, right? It has been removed. Okay. Yeah, so now it will come. Anyways, it will definitely come. So as you can see here, whatever the information what we are providing it, it is coming properly. So just final time, diva1, password p1, then email id e1, then country c1, register, and yeah. So username Diwakar1, password PA, email ID this, and all these things is coming, right? I'll just tell you, I'll not persist the data because it will get late for me. I'll just tell you about the JavaScript, how we can do the validations. So I want that password should not be, uh, greater than 1. Okay, sorry, greater than 10 characters or 15 characters. Okay, so we can write something like a JavaScript code on submit equal to call some method validate. I'll not be covering much this one, validate input, something like that. I'll call this. So on submit validate input, this will call a method in JavaScript. So I'll write something like here, JavaScript code, and here we'll write function validate. This is for let me first check it whether it is working or not. Submitting input. Okay, fine. It's been a long time I worked in. I just wanted to know to get the feel of all these things, how internally and all these things works. Okay, so okay, I'll tell you about this. What actually JavaScript does is, uh, you click on this, you click on this one, you fill all these things. Once you click on this register, right? Okay, nothing is happening. It's bad. It is not happening anything. Validate. I think I have given the wrong. What is this like? Okay, so just let me see by submitting. No. Okay, it's not working. I don't know why. Actually, what I wanted to do, right? See, instead of email ID, if you need to validate the email ID, right? A user can put 2 at the rate, something like that, right? Whether this is not a valid email ID, right? I want my user not to submit something like this. I want to validate the input before they put into the database or before it goes to the server. So these validations should be done on the client side only with the browser only. That is called the JavaScript. Using the JavaScript, you can do the client validations and you can do all this stuff. You can make sure that user does not put like this username, user does not put any special character, or user does not put some big string or something like that. I just want to make them a limit to something, email, this one, I want that country should not be more than 20 characters. These kind of validations, if you want to do, right, you can do with the help of JavaScript. I really don't know why it is not working. I'll definitely fix it up, and maybe in next session I can tell you more about this JavaScript, and just I'll cover little bit things. I'm not going to teach much about that, and it's very easy to learn, and there's a very many crash course available on YouTube. You can learn about that if you're interested. But again, this is also a UI side, because these validations and all these things, right, it happens on UI side. It's nothing to do much with Java. But I'm still wondering why it is not working. So just let me JavaScript example. You will get many things in this one, right? Functions I want to deal with. So function, my function. So it's doing something like script function, document type equals to this. Okay. There are many things I don't know. Okay, I think on click, if button is there, then on click it should be. Just let me try this one on click. So I have given on submit. So just let me try this whether it works or not. Okay, yeah, it's working. So submitting input, right? Yeah, so it's what actually it does is if you see something like, okay, so functions. You can pass the input object. I don't know, HTML input. Submit a form, reset a form, disable a button, find the name of. Okay, so you can do all this stuff. Find the number of elements, find the name. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So it's something like, see, form action equals to this, and first name, last name, input type, value equals to this, and on click it will click on this. On click it will call the my function, and inside the my function you can get document dot get element by id, and you can get the name dot length. You can see. Okay, so what I need to do is here, once you click on validate input, right, I'll go here and I want to check it something like this. So so I'll write something like a password. Okay, so I'll retrieve the password by providing its element id, which is the password. I'll so alert, once again I'll alert the password here, and then I'll write something like this: if no password dot length is less than, sorry, greater than 10. I want 10, or make it, yeah, 10, make it 8 only, because I can just check it. Alert, you write something like password cannot be more than 8. Just you want to make something like this. Okay, so you can tell something like, okay, password should not be, I'll just printing this so that I'm just getting the correct value. Okay, so this is what you can do, and I'll just try it here. Okay, I'll just put username, I'll put password as a more than 8 characters, and email ID something, country something, and then the register is saying as a null. Okay, so get element. Okay, I think I have to put ID as a field here. One second. Password. Okay, so I think we have to provide the ID. Fine, so yes, let me try again. Oh, I don't know, this UI stuff, it behaves abnormally. Let me check again one more time. Okay, so it's coming something weird thing. Anyways, I'll check it because I'm not very much comfortable with JavaScript. I just wanted to show you one example. Maybe I'll cover in tomorrow's session. I'll just check it what is going wrong here. Okay. Other than that, I hope anybody any questions regarding the flow, how it gets compiled, how it gets works on server. Is that fine? Yeah. Can tell me,
Yeah.
Smita? Hello. Okay, if there is no question, then I'll winding up the session. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay, you can say yes. There is no problem.
All right.
Okay.